Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome. I guess I have to speak relatively slow for interpreters. And if I get carried away, please yell. Good. I am planning to do a short meditation for everyone so that we get our white light working with us and for us, for everyone. A few days ago, I received a nice torus, a model of torus, which I often use during my meditation. So if you wish, you can follow my very short guided meditation, and then I'll start with my talk, which I could name a science and spirituality, bridging science and spirituality. Are we ready? Okay. Quiet your mind and imagine white energy in your heart. Big white ball. This white ball is now spiraling down, just like in this torus, spiraling down through all your organs, down to Mother Earth, connecting with Mother Earth, taking the energy and the love, unconditional love from Mother Earth, and spiraling back through your body, through your feet, going through all your chakras, opening your chakras, going through your heart, your throat chakra, going through your pineal gland, your third eye, and going out of your body through your crown chakra as a big white ball. You're in that ball, and you are going all the way up, 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 to the highest possible levels, to the white light of Creator, of our Father. You purify the energy that is coming from you. You purify in the white light of the universe. Once when it's purified, it's spiraling down as a torus through your body, it's going down. You can connect this with your breathing cycle. I usually do it as what they teach you in pranayama. You inhale white energy, you absorb this white energy with all your cells, in all your organs, with the wisdom of the Father and the unconditional love of our Mother Earth. You unify these two energies in all your cells. You harmonize work of all your glands, starting from pineal gland, throat chakra, and all other glands, so that they work in harmony. All your cells are now shining with the blue-white light, and you are the light. If you wish, you can widen this torus to your, not only to your body, but to your friends, to your family, to everyone who is sitting here, to the whole Mother Earth. So this white energy is penetrating and absorbed by everything you see in this 3D world. Thank you, my friend, for providing this torus, or holos, they call it. Okay, so now we can start. Science and spirituality. Bridging science and spirituality has been around for many, many years. And it's a tough nut to crack. My colleague scientists don't approve any of this. If you read my CV on the web, on the Pranic Fall Festival website, you could learn that I've been scientist for over 30 years. I'm university professor of physics. Nuclear physics is my specialty, nuclear and quantum. And I publish a lot of papers, over 120 papers in scientific journals. And throughout my career, I work in many countries. In Amsterdam, for example, 5 years at the university, and then Singapore National University, Sydney Institute for Atomic and Nuclear Energy. And now I'm back to Croatia, to my home country and my hometown, working as a full professor. And throughout my career, I got over $20 million grants, which is not much, but it is quite a lot for kind of scientist that we play with toys which are called accelerators. This is my specialty, so it's accelerator physics. And so I know quite a bit about nuclear structure and atomic structure and quantum physics and things like that. And I'll tell you a story about nuclear physics, what we know and what we are telling you. There is a difference between these two. What you learn in the school and what we think, or some of us think. But first, about Breatharianism. I guess about Breatharianism, I don't have to talk much because you are all very close to this field. And some of you know a lot more than me and have experienced Breatharianism. I went through 3 processes, 11-day process with Victor Truviano. That was last year in Thailand. And then 21-day process with Nicholas here in Kokore in September last year. And just a few weeks ago with Henry Manfred here in Kokore as well. And I can tell you that I did reach at least 2, and the second one 3 criteria that Henry considered as important criteria for Breatharians, which is stable weight, a lot of energy, and very short sleep needed, 1 or 2 hours sleep. But then again I converted. When the process was finished, I was not ready, so I started to eat again a little bit, at least not as much as before, otherwise I would be like this. I know that part of the energy I am using is prana. And I also know that throughout my life I have been using this source of energy many, many times. As many of you probably know, and you and your friends or maybe member of family have been running 24/7 on some projects. If you are full of enthusiasm, you are full of energy, you are full of love, then you know that you eat much, much less. People who are enthusiastic in whatever they are doing, they eat very little. They don't even know that they eat little because day goes by so fast that they forget to take lunch or breakfast or dinner. And I'm sure you know that you've been in that stage. So it's love, as you all know, that is feeding us. Regardless, is it love for the universe or is it love for the job that you are doing or activity you are doing, if you are an artist or do you have a cover for this? If you, yeah. So I don't have to prove this fact to you, but scientists, I was searching for literature on that subject. Enthusiasm, prana, feeding, energy, not much research has been done. No one is actually measuring how much those people who are in so you can say trance when they work, how much they eat, how much they consume, and how much weight they lose. If they consume very little food, you would expect that they lose weight. And this is where scientists are failing. They don't want to look at facts. We all know, you know, and I know, that Breatharians have been around for millennia, for thousands of years. In traditions, Hindu traditions, in China, Bigu tradition, and of course, recently in this our Western Roman Catholic tradition, there have been people like what is the name of Nicholas van der Flu. He was living in 15th century in Switzerland, very popular, and there have been some research done with him. And most recently in the Roman Catholic tradition was Teresa Newman, South Germany. She was born in 1901 or something like that. She had an car accident when she was 20, and then she was paralyzed for a year or two. She was a big Catholic, very, very big believer, and she prayed and prayed and prayed for a year or two, and she recovered. Her disease, her paralysis was gone. She started walking, talking, and she realized that she doesn't need food. She was living on only a fraction of a host per day. And she was a big miracle, and priest and all the Catholic Church was very happy to have a big believer who is living from mana. Mana in our part of the world, and in Pacific, prana is called mana, or what Chinese call chi, or Japanese ki. And so it's the same energy. Scientists don't believe in it. Teresa was measured and controlled by hospitals, by church, and there were many tests performed in those days, in 20s and 30s, and they realized that it's true. She even had stigmata every Friday. She had stigmata, so she had a lot of bleeding coming from her hands, from her feet, where Jesus had wounds. Her head, and she would lose like 2-3 kilos during these Fridays when she bleed, and then in 2-3-4 days later she would gain the weight again and energy and everything. So she lived till 1962, I think, when she died in her late 60s. Right, and since then Yasmuhin and many other have been promoting Breatharianism. So I don't need to prove to you. It is here. Scientists don't believe in it because of something what we called the two basic laws of science, of mechanics, of physics, if you want. And these are two pillars of science, which is conservation of mass and the law of conservation of energy. You can't produce mass in the closed system. So to demonstrate, I created a little closed system for you. This is a little, how do you call it? Dwarf, yeah. Imagine this is one of you, and I put you in under the glass bell in a closed system. This is closed system. No food, no energy is coming in, and nothing is coming out. So if you put any of you in a closed system and you put a scale here, what would you expect? There'll be always the same mass, because even if he is evaporating water or doing his physiological things, everything will stay inside the system, and the mass will always be the same. Always, always, always. Day 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 100 days, a month, whatever. the mass will not change. Okay? Is that a common sense? He will not gain the weight. But what is happening with real Breatharian level 4 and level 3 is that the mass is going up. They are using energy. They use just like normal. My metabolism requires about 2,000 calories. And that's roughly half a kilo of fat. So I lose half a kilo of fat and some water if I don't consume anything. So I'll go lighter. Every minute, every day, I'll be lighter and lighter because water evaporates and the fat that is stored in my body will be burnt out and go out as carbon dioxide through my mouth. So this is normal, and this is what scientists work with. We are losing weight, and I devised a very sensitive scale, which you can see really in real time how the mass is going down. You lose usually about 50 grams per hour, 30 to 50 depending on the temperature. Okay, so this is the closed system. The same goes, so you can't convert carbon into calcium, and you can't, see, Breatharians, their hair grows. They lose energy by exhaling carbon dioxide. I measured carbon dioxide coming out from Breatharians is the same concentration as us. So that means that they are receiving somehow glucose, because glucose is what's a product, what is burning in our body, sugar or fat. That is a product of this burning is carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide in Breatharians expelled air is the same as us, about 4%, 4 to 5%. So they're getting carbon and probably nitrogen and oxygen because their nail grows, their hair grows, the beard grows, their skin is falling off. So they must be getting mass from somewhere. We don't know where from. So this is the mystery that scientists don't want to look at. They just close their eyes, they put their head in the sand, and they say, you are all lying. You are outlaws. You are breaking the basic fundamental law. No one has ever broken any of physical laws. No one. This is not possible. And that's it. You are outlaws. You'll be hunted down. Okay, so this is about Breatharianism and why is it no for science. I tried to apply for research grants, to do this kind of research in a conventional grant giving agencies. No way. They were all just thumbs down. No, thank you. You are crazy. Yeah. Okay, few words about science. Where are we with science? Science, as we know it, is very, very, very young. It's only about 100 years that we really are doing something we can call science. Before that, it was all like in the dark. They didn't know. 100 years ago, they didn't know how the atom looks like. Now we sort of know, but actually we don't know. What we are presenting to you in school, primary school, high school, even at the university, is something that is wishy-washy, not really true. I'll use this ball to help you to visualize the picture you have about the atoms. As you all know, we present atoms with a so-called planetary model. Planetary model is because it's very similar to solar system. You have a big nucleus which contains protons and neutrons, which you present usually something like this, little balls, green and yellow balls within the nucleus, and then far, far, far away are little electrons that circle around this nuclei. For your visualization, can you tell me, if you imagine for a moment that nucleus is this big, where would be the first electron? How far would be the first electron if the nucleus is as big as this football? Where? No, not that far. No, a bit closer. No. Right, yeah, close. About 2 to 3 kilometers. And the electron would be so small that you won't see it. Electron is what we call elementary particle. Elementary particles are so small that we did not manage to break them down into smaller bits and pieces. They are actually what, if Nassim is here, he would call them black holes. They are vortices in space that have not defined size and position. And that's why we represent them very often with waves. You have heard of duality of matter. Matter can be either wave or particle. Depends how you look at it. I'm not going into Schrödinger equation and any equation. You see, I don't have formulas here. We'll just use simple models. Okay, so if this is so, what I want to show you now is that even this heavy nuclei, you learn also in school that 99.99% of the matter is in the nucleus. Nucleus is very heavy. It's one proton is about 2,000 times heavier than an electron. So if we imagine that this is, let's say, gold nuclei, gold has 79 protons and 79 neutrons. Let's say this is a proton. In recent years, not quite recent, but in the last 50 years, we developed tools to look at the inner structure of protons. Very fine microscopes. These microscopes we call accelerators. And these accelerators are basically doing the same what this, don't go, come. Doing the same what this gun is doing. With this gun, I'm not going to point it to you. What we do with the gun? We shoot a bullet. What we do with accelerators, we shoot electrons and protons, other particles. We shoot into other particles. And what can you do with the, let's say it's dark, and I want to figure out where is the tree, let's say there. I shoot, and I hear, look at the sound. I listen to the sound. You see, if I want to see where is Fabio, you know, if it is total darkness, I shoot. When I hit Fabio, he'll say, ah! And then I know, that's him. And I can measure his size because I can hit his hand. He said, okay, left hand, right hand. So I can measure, even if it is total darkness, by using this accelerator, I can measure his size by scanning and shooting. And then he will start screaming from atoms. If there are atoms that I want to see the size, is by looking at scattered particles that would scatter from them, and then we have detectors on the other side. When the particle is scattered, we know exactly when it's scattered, at what angle, and we measure the size. Okay, but the size is very easy. That was measured like 60, 70 years ago for protons and neutrons. How do we find the inner structure? What is, by then people thought the same what we are being told in school now, that protons are hard balls. There is a mass, a heavy mass inside. And there are balls that you can sort of handle, but they are not. This is the big mystery now, because when accelerator became bigger, accelerators are our microscopes, our tools to look at subnuclear particles. We shoot inside the proton with very high energy particles. These are called like LHC accelerator in Geneva, Large Hadron Collider, and many other machines that are around the world. Very high energy. They can look inside. Just like I've been able to look within the nucleus, I can look inside the proton. And what did we find? Do you know what are the particles that are inside the protons? You remember? Your quarks. Yes, quarks. Three quarks. Quarks are elementary particles, and they are so small, so tiny, that if you expand this proton into a big ball, it will be hollow space. There will be nothing, because quarks are as small as electrons. They are vortices in space. They are vortices which emanates energy, fields, electric, magnetic, gravitational, strong, and weak force. So they emanate field. And this field, so far we know 4 forces: electromagnetic, gravitational, strong, and weak. These are the 4 forces that are known to scientists. To repeat the forces, yeah. The obvious one is gravitational, electromagnetic. So gravitational is keeping us here on the ground. Otherwise we would be all light being flying like angels. So angels are obviously defining the gravity. And then, so electromagnetic force is reflecting all the light that's falling on you. Thanks to electromagnetic waves, I can see you. Thanks to electromagnetic interaction, I cannot go through this computer with my finger, because electrons from my fingers are colliding with the electrons from the other fingers. They are both negative, and they form very strong field which repels. And I can't get with my hand through this computer unless I'm really Avatar and I'm beyond, if I'm Sai Baba or guys like this. Okay, so for us who are living in this 3D matrix, this is all real. But when you get down to the point, to real stuff, proton is hollow. Proton is as hollow as atom. When you look the distance from nuclei to electron is nothing, empty space. When you look from the space from sun to solar to planets, it's all empty space. It's vacuum. The same is here. We don't know what is actually inside. I mean, we know quarks, and between quarks there are so-called gluons, particles that keep quarks together. These are virtual particles that pop up and disappear. They're sort of virtual. They can be seen only when the proton is demolished, destroyed. Okay, so we are now coming to a reality that Vedas have been talking about for millennia. I mean, in Vedas and in all these old books that have been around for 3,000 years, they've been saying world is all is virtual, all is illusion, it's Maya, nothing is real, all is vibration. These quarks vibrate, we can't hold them, we can't really tell where they are not material, they are not real. And when you look this way into the matter, then you realize that matter does not exist. It's all hollow. What we feel when I touch this ball is just field of electrons coming close to field of other group of electrons. But electrons are not real. So, where do Breatharians come in? If all is Maya, then we are not real. We are living, you have seen probably Matrix movie, trilogy, three episodes of Matrix. Matrix is very close to what old texts are telling us, that it's all virtual, and we are living in a virtual world, and everything that's happening is just a nice play. We are actors of our own dramas. We are directors and actors at the same time. Once when you realize that, then life becomes so nice and so easy. And of course, for many people it's a long way to realize that. Some are born knowing, some have to learn through very difficult lessons, very tough lessons, but as we discussed this morning in a small group, the tougher the lesson, the tougher the teacher, the better the lesson, the better you learn, the faster you learn. Of course, if you survive. If many people won't survive. Yeah. So, this is, let me see, I still have little time. I forgot to bring a magnet. I wanted to show you how the forces are, but you can imagine, let's make a virtual experiment. Imagine that in this box I have some unknown object that is causing, you all have seen magnetic field represented by metal splinters. Right, metal filings, yeah. If you have, let's say, a lot of metal filings here, and I have a magnet here, what will happen with metal filings? They will stand up. They will be aligned with the field of magnetic field. And if I am born like 500 years ago and I want to impress some people from my tribe, I can play with this magnet and tell them, you see, I'm a magician, I can do with these filings whatever you want, you know, I can turn them this way and that way. This is roughly what's happening with particles. Particles are emanating fields which we don't know where they're coming. They're probably coming from another dimension. And these fields are then exerting in our world forces like gravitational force, electromagnetic force. And if you have electromagnetic field coming out from this black box, which you call electron or quark, then this field will reflect electromagnetic wave and I will see you or colors. Every kind of different kind of electron arrangements will reflect different kind of colors. So you get red color, green color, blue color, depending how they are arranged in a grid. Right, and then we come to these big questions. You know, there are so many questions these days. Scientists, at least those honest scientists, they know that there are many unanswered questions these days. Well-established scientists at the university will not be happy to admit, but more and more they are being more honest and more open. Like a big question that is really a hardcore question and has been worked by many scientists these days is this phenomena of dark matter and dark energy. We know now that only 4% of visible mass, like us, stars, galaxies, it represents only 4% of mass that is around us. We can feel that there is another 96% of dark matter and dark energy that we can't see. We don't know where it's coming from. So it's a big, 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 very big mystery that a lot of cosmologists, theoreticians, and experimentalists are working on. We know that this 96% of mass and energy exists by looking at the rotational speed of galaxies and by the bending of the light that is coming from distant galaxies. So this is a big question. Another big questions are, let's say, things that they don't want to admit, and this is life force. Life force has been around for many, many years, if centuries, if not centuries. Many biologists know that evolution, as it is presented by Darwin and as it is taught in our schools, is not complete, is incomplete. Evolution can very well describe small changes within species, but it can't describe very simple thing, how this crocodile that or fish that used to swim in the water came out of water, okay, and then use his flippers to walk, which is okay, you can understand, maybe through evolution it turned flippers into legs and became a reptile. But then how this reptile all of a sudden decided to have wings and fly? How? I mean, can you, I mean, you are all good meditators. Can you sit and meditate and ask, pray, the creator or whoever you believe in to provide wings to you? Not maybe in the first generation, but like say for 3-5 generations, you want to have wings and you want to have your offsprings to have wings. Is any of you that you think you are as good meditator that you can do that? Through few generations, change your DNA and get wings, convert your, can you? I don't think so. So how do you think this stupid crocodile managed to do that? Biologists will not answer that question. They will say just, there is a missing link. Sorry, we don't know. But if you really think hard and work hard on it, maybe you can, thousands of years, millions of years, they have plenty of time. So maybe it happened. I don't think so. And pardon? Casuality. Random, you mean by random? If you look at the random things, they also can't explain things like a simple cell. There are cells like sperm and many other bacteria that have little tail. Now we have very good microscopes, electronic microscopes. When they look into this mechanism of the tail of the cell, they realize that this tail is spinning with 100,000 revolutions per minute. The fastest electromotor that we managed to make is spinning like 25,000 revolutions per minute, but 100,000. And within a second, it can change the direction. And who is directing which way to go and how fast to go? Who created this micro machine? This is micro machine. When you look at it, it's a micro machine. It's a motor that has rotor and stator. And it has been assembled atom by atom. Otherwise, it would never work. It would be a failure in production line. So this cell, when it multiplied, it drives atoms that are required one by one, carbon, nitrogen, whatever is needed, molecules, this and that, very complex proteins, to get this motor. First they get stator, and then at the same time the shaft of the rotor. And when everything is assembled, then somebody in the central unit, in the cell, in the nucleus of this cell, say, okay, now it's assembled, let's turn on the engine, bang, and then it spins 100,000 revs in one direction, it goes somewhere. It has sense where to go. It doesn't go just randomly, like in your body. When you cut your hand, you get bleeding. What is happening? Automatically, all the leukocytes, all these leukocytes, or how do you call it? The cells that are protecting your body from infection, they run all the way there. And what did they do? Also, they bring stem cells. Stem cells come there and they build your tissue layer by layer. If you cut your vein, it will rebuild your vein. If you cut your skin, it will rebuild your skin within your cells. Your stem cells have genes so perfect that they can replace any damaged cell in your body. And you think that is happening randomly? Just by Brownian motion? If you are waiting for Brownian motion to do something in your cell, you would be waiting for something to happen with your cell or with your body hundreds of years or thousands of years. It's not Brownian motion. And biologists know that, but they don't talk about it. So biologists have problems. Physicists have problems, but biologists as well. But so this life force, you can read a lot about this. Like Rupert Sheldrake, if anyone has read Rupert Sheldrake, he wrote quite a bit on that, on morphogenetic fields and morphogenetic force, and amazing. I mean, you see that it's so many. There are so many unknowns in our life and surrounding us. Then, for example, telepathy. Rupert Sheldrake again has done beautiful experiments with animals, with pets. Who read any of his books? Anyone? One? Okay, then I'll say just a few words about the book. He believed, I mean, Rupert Sheldrake is a Cambridge born biologist who has a very good reputation, and when he was close to retirement, he started studying these strange effects, which he was convinced that they are existing, just like Breatharians. And he studied telepathy. So he did the obvious. He sent email and he broadcast a call for all pet lovers that they believe they have good connection with their pets, dogs, and cats, parrots. So he got hundreds and hundreds of emails respond from British people, and then he selected few who were in the vicinity so that he can handle the experiment and work carefully on this. So he set up simple experiments. He realized that many of these, let's say, dogs know when the owners are coming home. So, okay, skeptics can say, okay, they know because owners always come at the same time, and then the dog half an hour before they come, they stay at the doorstep and wait for the owner. Okay, or they come with the car that's producing a sound and then they can hear them a mile or two away, or they do this and that. So to eliminate all of these skeptics' objections, he said, okay, let's do it randomly. Okay, let's select 5 homes, 5 owners, and he put cameras in their living room and the doorstep, and he gave to the owners directive to come back by sending them SMS or giving them call. So, and they would come home by different means, taxi or bicycle or anything that is not usual. And it happened again and again and again. He proved on so many cases that about 20 to 30 minutes before the owner come back, actually, usually it happens very close to the time when he sent SMS or he called the owner, and the owner now has intention to go home, and at that moment, when the intention is created, the dog will receive a message and he would know that the owner is coming back. And he proved that in so many cases that it's beyond doubt. He did also work with members of family, mothers, sons, fathers, even pigeons and parrots. It's amazing. And it has been proven again and again and again and again that there is a link between us and other subjects who can receive. So he proved something. He proved that telepathy is real. he also posed now the question to us how to describe telepathy. The most obvious, I will just say in a few words, the most obvious solution is coming from the other side of science, which is, again, particle physics, quantum physics. More and more scientists believe that elementary particles are black holes. So protons, within what structure, whatever they have, are a little tiny black holes. If they are black holes, it has been proven that between black holes there must exist something what we call now I have a blackout. I mean black hole now. Help me. What is between black holes are not vortices but wormholes. Wormholes, yes, wormholes. And for wormholes, it is known that within wormholes, time and space does not exist. Does not exist. The communication between particles that are linked, we call this entangled particles. If you have two protons created together in some process, they are like yin and yang, brother and sister. And they talk to each other. When you separate them, they are still connected with the wormhole. Whatever you do with this one, so you beat it and you change its spin, it was spin up, or you change it to spin down, the other one will feel and change the spin the other way. They talk to each other instantaneously, regardless how far they are. So this is most likely explanation for telepathy. We have a tuner in our brain, just like walkie-talkie. You know, mother and son, they've been growing up together. They know each other so well that they developed, we don't know yet, it's a black box for us, but it is black box as much as is walkie-talkie black box for African tribe. You give them walkie-talkie to mother and sister, and you let them turn them on and send them 5 kilometers apart and ask them to talk to each other. They'll be amazed. They say, wow, how can that be? There's this black box. So this is something, and they wouldn't know anything about this black box. They don't know how it works. The same way we don't know how our black box works. But its communication is happening. We can't deny it anymore. Okay. Do you agree? I'm sure you all had experience with that. Yeah. So telepathy is, and then remote viewing as well, past lives, and the spirit world. These are questions that are being now studied at universities. How much time? I have 10 minutes. Okay. Many of you have probably read books of Ian Stevenson. Have? About past life of young children. He studied young children up to 5, 6, 7 years old children who remember their past life, have very vivid memories. They know names of mother, father, siblings. They know name of the town they live. They remember the street, buildings, everything. He studied thousands of these cases, first in Asia, Burma, Myanmar, Thailand, because those people were open to this. And then after publishing a few books on that subject, with these children from Asia, Americans woke up and he was receiving hundreds and hundreds of emails and calls from parents from United States who have children who remember their past life. And he traced back those past life, and they found in many, many cases that exactly father and grandfather or whatever parents with that name existed in those villages. Children who were in battle in Second World War, they remember exactly the name of the ship that sunk or a plane that they've been flying. They know exactly, all the details were so accurate. How could children know that? So these are now documented cases, thousands, about 3,000. Ian Stevenson, and now is followed by Jim Tucker, his follower. They're professors at the University of Virginia State University. Similar experiments have been done by Gary Schwartz. He's from Arizona University, and he studied communication with spirits. Also, something that has never been studied at university. So things are changing, and this communication with spirit was so well documented and proven. He was doing double and triple blind experiments, so it was also beyond doubt that the spirit of, let's say, deceased mother or father came to talk to the sitter, and the medium was able to transmit the message, which without any doubt was received from a real spirit, somebody who knows so much about the life, their common life and common events that only two of them would know. You know, bringing a rose or something, or knowing the name of the pet, and fantastic. And this is all documented. So look for the book of Gary Schwartz. He published a few books on that subject. So, and Breatharians, of course. This is why I'm here. So, as I mentioned earlier, the basic pillar of mechanics, of science, physics, is the law of conservation of mass and energy. These are two pillars. As you know, mass and energy are basically the same thing. But what we are doing here is, I did last year first experiments. We measured, I developed a very sensitive scale that can measure grams on a scale of 100 kilos. So I'm close to 100. If I sit on that scale and I start breathing, I will see that my weight is going down. If I sit 15 minutes, the weight will go down for 10 grams or so. In an hour, we'll go for 50 grams. We did these experiments last year during Nicolas' process in France in July last year, and few people who were at the end of the process converted, basically satisfied all the three conditions. They were able to meditate in such a way that their mass was going up. Yeah. And this is something that has never been recorded. I'm here to repeat the experiment and find out if there is any of you able to reproduce that. Because if we are able to reproduce this, then I have some hard evidence to present to my colleagues, and hopefully one day they will say, okay, maybe you're right, let me see, let us check. And you know, it sounds simple, but it's not simple. It's really impossible that this little guy who is in his prison, in his golden cage, is increasing his mass at will. He say, okay, I want 2 kilos extra, please provide. And pop, 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 the mass goes up. And the closed system. Or I have a dragon here also, in a glass crystal ball. Can you imagine that this dragon, or you as a person who is in a way in a crystal ball, so you don't take any food, you just breathe, increase your mass? It is impossible. Some people say, okay, increasing mass, but maybe because of oxygen, we are breathing oxygen, and then oxygen, the air has not only oxygen, but nitrogen, oxygen, and then a little bit of carbon dioxide and a little bit of argon. But this is not enough to rebuild your hair and to build your cells. Your cells need micronutrients. So we are planning some other experiment, but this is very basic. The weight is first thing. As I said, we measured also carbon dioxide coming out of the expelled air is the same as normal people. So the glucose is being created. The energy is being created within the body at will. So consciousness is doing something. I just learned from Mirit because I thought, and many people who work in this field think that it has to do something with our consciousness, our understanding that we are living in the matrix and that our body is not real, and we tap on something. Some scientists believe that we are tapping on a vacuum energy, because energy of vacuum is believed that has no energy, that has nothing, it's empty. But more and more work has been done on that, and there is this 0 point energy which is probably coming into our body. But then, okay, this is energy, but how about matter? How is this carbon created, or all elements that are needed for our weight to maintain? Where is it created? It is coming to the big question of alchemist. Is our body turned into an alchemist, something that has been around for thousands of years? People were trying to convert stone into gold. Is this happening in our bodies? Probably by consciousness. But then again, Mirit just told me a few hours ago that she has a cat similar to what Nicholas has here. He calls this cat Prana, but I have seen her eating. She is not Pranic. I have seen her many times eating. She's very good hunter, fantastic hunter. Yeah, there is no lizard that can escape, or bird. Anyway, Mirit says that she has a cat that has been very sick, and she refused to eat for the past few months. She has been very sick, and she was afraid that it will die because it's quite an old cat. But all of a sudden, something happened with that cat. She started building up her weight, and her hair, which has fallen off completely. She was, how a cat without hair looks like. Her hair started to grow, and she has now new, very fine hair, and she's healthy, not as big as she used to be, but so it's not only our brains, it can happen also with animals. Amazing. This is the only case that I know. If you know any other case, I would love to know of animals converting. But Mirit says, yes, this cat has been sleeping with me for so many years, like 12 years, sleeping in her bed. I said, wow, that's good. So this is the way to become Breatharian. Can I sleep with you? Better than Nicholas. Okay, good. So I'm coming to the end of my show. We have a few more minutes for questions. Christina, I knew you will be first. You can say without microphone. You don't need the mic. You need. Okay.
No, I just wanted to confirm that there aren't other pets. Olga's dog also only lives on coconut juice for some years now, and she's constantly doing blood tests. I met him online, the dog.
I see.
He's doing blood tests on him and so on, and it's okay. And I have a small rabbit that only remembers if I don't eat at all, I have anything at all at home, I don't drink, I don't eat, he forgets to do that also. Wow. If I take some water or if I sit myself at the table, he runs to his...
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have a direct link to his willpower.
But I don't know how to explain that yet. But he does eat when I don't, but if I'm not taking anything at all, he's just sitting there and he's okay.
That's good. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, I I don't think you will be able to see, but I wanted to show you a few graphs. I don't know, will you see or not? But those who are interested, these are results of the experiment we did last year in France. I don't know if you can see this, but this is a graph that's coming down. This is the weight of one of the participants of the workshop last year in France, Diane. She was sleeping on the scale the whole night. And her weight was going down, except for a few jumps, which is when she moved a little bit, and then the weight goes up and then back down to the normal. Yeah. And then few more graphs from this is the I don't know if you can see this, but this is the normal graph, the weight coming down. So if I'm sitting on the scale, the weight will go down slowly, about 20, 30, 40 grams per hour. But when Diana was sitting, and a few other guys, let's say I'll show you this. Diane. Don't know if you can see this.
You have a battery in your computer. Have you?
Yeah.
It's possible to disconnect.
How to disconnect?
Disconnect.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this weight was going up during the 15 minutes meditation. The weight was going up like 120 grams or so. Yeah. Also for David is also here. Yes, his weight was also going up about I think 80 grams or something like that. Yeah. Which is amazing. You know, it is impossible according to conventional science. And what I am proposing now is I have now 3 scales, and they are much better than those scales that we used last year. What I'm proposing, there are a few experiments that I would like to perform. And these are something that we tried already during the 21-day process in May when I was here with Nicholas. Many participants walk through the forest. There is a nice walk around this hill, about 2 kilometers long and 120 meters elevation difference. We weigh participants before going for a walk and after. And it's amazing that, again, according to the conservation of energy and mass, many participants lost only 10, 20, 30 grams. And those who were on physical food lost 100, 150, 200 grams. Huge difference. I did not have anyone who gained the weight, but I remember some of you, I think Galina said last year when I spoke to her, she said, if I go for a walk through the forest, I gain a kilo or 2 or 3, which I don't want, but again. Yeah. So this is one experiment that I would like to perform, and we can organize walks in group. I would like to make it a group walk so that you go all with the same pace, with the same speed. Because if you are running, you waste much more energy than if you walk slow, just like with cars. If you drive 150, you will use 10 liters per 100. Okay, so that's one experiment. The second one is just sitting on the scale. The scale is like this. You can sit and meditate for 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, and we'll see if your weight is going up or down. Third experiment is sleeping on the scale. I have a special scale that can be put under the legs of your bed. So it has 4 sensors. They are connected with the electronics, and the signal goes to my computer. And we monitor the whole night. You can meditate or do whatever you want, and we'll see what's happening during the night. And the fourth experiment, or fifth, is we have a treadmill machine. The idea was to have 2 treadmills so that we can have parallel running by Breatharian and physical food eating person, but I'm happy that we have at least one. So the idea is to have Breatharian walking or running at his own pace for 10 minutes, 20, 30, and we weigh them. They can meditate during this walk. So it's this more controlled experiment than going around the forest, the hill. So in that way, and then we do physical food eating person walking with the same pace and see how much they lose or gain. That would be also a very good measure of prana working. Yes.
We've noticed differences also in weight after sauna.
I see.
Not anymore, but at the beginning of my path, I was gaining weight in sauna.
I see.
And differences in weight might be also measured with sun gazing, if you
I
will.
see. Yeah.
It's worth trying.
Yeah, some people are sensitive on sun gazing, some are not. Yeah. Yeah. I think each of us has its own way of gaining weight and gaining prana. Yes.
I would like to share. Here I am. Hi, hello, nice to meet you.
Hi. Gaston.
Gaston, yes. I would like to share with you. I am also doing my own experiments. I'm not so scientific like you and not so accurate, but for 4 years and a half, my body asked me to stop eating, so I did the process myself. And since then, I just drinking liquids. And six months later, my body asked me to start to make sport. And he explained me something like, if I do sport with consciousness and slow, I can gain energy.
Without taking physical food.
Yes. And then if I keep pushing with my will, so it's like I am gaining energy, and then I get a plateau. Yep. And if I keep pushing, I lose again. So the body said to me, just be aware when you are gaining and remain in this process. So I start to do acrobatics because I like to play that, the things, and also start to do triathlons. So and I did my second triathlon 3 days ago on Sunday. And what I discovered is I didn't train for the triathlon because when I asked my body, would you like to train? Say no, I don't want to train. And yes, it's
that's a good excuse.
Yes, because when I see all the training, I say, oh no, I don't want to push to do this. And what I just do is I jump in the triathlon and just listen to the body and say, well, you like to swim? So I swim, and then, of course, I'm not the first guy, because they are training six. But I am in the middle or 60%, 70%.
Fantastic.
And then it's like everybody's taking these things, energy things, and I'm just drinking orange juice, just 200 milliliters orange juice, and the body is recovering. But I never push. I never push. So
you listen to your body.
Yes, 100%. And the body is telling me, now we're going to do this, now we're going to do that.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yes.
Another subject to study.
To experiment. But thank you for all your information. I really like it to have someone in science just explaining us everything what's happening.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully there'll be soon more scientists catching up and competing with me. We like to compete for grants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Good.
you for sharing.
Thank you, Gaston. Yeah.